In this episode, I get on the smallest and most unstable ferry of my life. I see the remnants of the country's turbulent past. I stay up in the trees above a river. I ride parts of the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and I make it Ho Chi Minh City. Morning. It's about 5:30 in the morning. It's enough light now so I can actually see where I'm going on the road, as there's no street lights around here in the mountains. And I'm going to continue south, see what we can find. I headed off along the dirt track. Well, that was unexpected. I checked the gate and it had a lock on it. I had a quick look up the fence. It didn't look like there was any way to get through. I went back to the bike and took my gloves off to work out what to do next. But then I noticed one of the staff walking down.
Thank you.
They must have heard my bike as I left. Another morning, I get to see the sunrise. It was going to be a long day on the bike, so I filled up for the day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a lot of chickens. There was still some early morning fog about. Had to pull over as soon as I got into the mountains, the temperature dropped dramatically. And I was thinking, oh, I'll leave it because as soon as I put a jacket on, obviously it'll warm up again, but it hasn't. All right, I don't know what I'm coming up next. There are some caves up here. I might check them out. Came across what looked like an old military runway, now converted into the road. There must not have been as much rain here as the north, as the rivers were still clear. I took a turn off to where I thought I could get to the caves. somewhere around here was a ferry, according to the map. Well, I wasn't picturing that when I saw the word ferry. As I rode on, it felt really unstable. I had tried to get off the bike, but that made the whole boat lurch right over, and I nearly went in. So I definitely wasn't going to try that again. I sat as still as I could. The ferry lady seemed more confident that we weren't going in than me, as she made her way to the back of the boat and started paddling us across the river. We were getting close to the other bank, and surprising to me, we were still upright. Now, the interesting bit, getting off backwards. I thought, as long as I keep the balance of weight centered, all would be good. Harder than I expected when I couldn't see exactly where I was going. The back tyre got caught on something, so I tried to get off, but there was nowhere for me to put my foot. Not going to lie, I thought there was about a 90% chance I was going to end up in the water with the bike. As soon as I got on, it was like, oh yeah, and I went to step off the bike and it was like 30 degrees and I struggled to get it upright. So I was like, yeah, I'm probably not getting off the bike on this thing. And as we went across, there was a couple of patches, like, ugh. Getting off the boat was a bit of fun too. Technically it was a ferry. Small ferry, but a ferry. There were caves around here somewhere, but I just sort of lost in keeping dry. So I'll see, maybe this back there. Doesn't really matter. This isn't a cobblestone. It's a stone road, but it's not a cobblestone road. Yeah, anyway, if I can't find the cave, I'll keep going. I headed back down the road a bit to see if I could access the caves there. So, totally got that wrong, didn't I? On the map it says this side is cave access, but apparently it's the other side. Looks like tour operators are all over it, so probably won't let me in, just have a quick squeeze. So I might just keep going on the road. I did get a ferry ride out of it. Anyway, we'll head to the road. Oh well, have to leave that one for another journey. I rode back towards the main road again. I was now on the old Ho Chi Minh Trail that wound its way through these mountains. The Ho Chi Minh Trail was a logistics network of roads and trails that ran from the north of Vietnam to the south, through the kingdoms of Laos and Cambodia. Parts of what had become the trail had existed for centuries as primitive footpaths that enabled trade. I can't imagine how difficult it would have been trying to get through here before the road. The whole section of road was turn after turn. I have never ridden around more corners on a section of road in my life. I got to a sidetrack, as it seemed the road had been covered by a landslide. By the look of it, it had happened quite a while ago. This incredible road continued for the next few hours. I'm about halfway from where the caves were to where I want to check out next, and I haven't seen another vehicle, even a motorbike. I thought Vietnam was the you're never alone kind of place, because there's always someone within 30 seconds, but yeah, there's nobody along this trail. Ho Chi Minh Trail, or Ho Chi Minh Road now, it's all paved. It's insane. It's so much fun. It is so much fun. And the other thing is the hairpin mirrors that you get to see around the corner. Normally it's sort of, you're looking, can I see anything? I'm so used to them now. I think I've done about 200 in a row. It's like it's like a big screen TV. I can see exactly what's around the corner. It's nothing. Oh wow, that road is just wow, so much fun. So much fun on this bike. Having a good day on the bike. High fives, we're back. But then there were too many. I had to stop.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Well, the Vietnamese know how to brighten someone's day. The river was a stunning emerald green. More amazing rivers. I rode through a village that was made up of the old style houses. They may not be fancy in today's world, but they are so functional. What you need without waste. There were a lot of small waterfalls, or water runoffs. I came across more thick fog as I got closer to the top of the mountain. So thick, I had to slow right down. I had made it to my destination for the night. I have found accommodation and, well, so the name of the town I'm actually in is called Khe Sanh. And if you're Australian, and maybe a little older, you probably have heard of it. There's a famous song that a lot of people will probably remember. It's one of those songs in Australia that just seems to come out at pubs, parties and all that sort of thing. It's actually about someone coming back from the war and trying to deal with normal life again. But it's quite stunning up here. I think I've scored with this place. I'd got the last room left. There's these little cubicles of the normal thing and I'm sort of on the end thing, but it looks good. Seeing I was in Khe Sanh, there was one place I thought I should check out. So this is the Khe Sanh Museum. I can't even fathom having to go through what happened. The museum has these vehicles in the grass fields around the main building, weathered from the last 50 years since they were last used. I've seen these before, obviously in movies and documentaries, but this would have been one that was actually doing what they described. Inside the museum are a lot of photos, captured over the 20-year period, documenting what happened. It's sobering, isn't it? I just couldn't find the words. What an epic day of riding. Even though it was all on tarmac, that road was insane, and I think all I ended up seeing was a tractor kind of thing. No other vehicles, and it wasn't closed. It hadn't had a landslide through it. Amazing. It was like almost being in a trance. In the end, you're just concentrating on one thing, and that's just getting around each corner, making sure you don't hit any dirt patch or anything. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Didn't know you could ride on the road, be so much fun. Or concrete. Yeah, concrete I think it was, yeah. Imagine the trail before the road. How many, months it probably took to get through there. Insane. It is a great view from this place, even with the cloud. Hopefully the traffic slows down tonight. I think it's the main trucking route through this area, but it should by the time it gets dark. What a day. They had meals here, so I grabbed something rather yummy to eat as I looked out on this quite unique view. I headed off, continuing through the mountains along the border with Laos. I came past what I guess functions as a mobile mini fruit and veggie store. I also came across more of the houses like yesterday, but these ones had river views. There were so many rivers in this area, and over there was Laos. I pulled over to get my wet weather pants on, as, well, I was getting kind of wet. It did depend on the elevation to how wet, as in the valleys it was dry. I went past another turn-off into Laos, as I ran parallel with the country's border. How thick is the jungle here? slow going due to all the fog and wet roads. But once I dropped down again, things cleared up. I then came across people loading a logging truck. They were cutting down the trees at the top of the hill, then rolling them down to the bottom to be picked up. I rode into a town where I filled up again. Just stopped to get some fuel, as there's not a lot of towns through here and they don't all have fuel stations, so I thought I'd better do it while I could. I should have enough to get me to this afternoon. When I was in that wet section before, when the roads were actually wet and it's really windy, I was contemplating heading to the coast, because they're awesome roads when it's dry, fun just winding through them. But once it gets wet, there's clay on the road or dirt, and those trucks that come past are pretty fast, so if you had to put on a brake to quickly stop, you'd probably lose traction and go down too. And I was like, it's been good so far, should I just head east? But it seems to have dried up a bit. I'm risking but hopefully it'll be good. Anyway, we'll keep going and see what's next, and hopefully at least the roads stay dry. If it rains, it's fine. Once it rains so much, the roads get wet. I continued on through more winding roads, past more lakes, rivers and waterfalls. Eventually the sun started to break through the clouds. By the afternoon I was getting tired, so I pulled over at the next big town. Then did a quick search for somewhere to stay, found a place and headed towards it. You do get a lot for $16 in Vietnam. Beds for me and 4 of my friends. After 9 or 10 hours on the bike today, I think it's going to be a quick shower, try and find some food and pass out, and basically do it all again tomorrow. There's not as much, we'll say, interesting stuff at this end until you get to Ho Chi Minh City, which I've never been before, so I want to check that out before then having to get back to Hanoi. Again, I was up before the sun, as I was going to be heading through a lot of towns today. An earlier start meant I didn't have to deal with as much traffic. I started coming across hundreds of these farm-like vehicles where it's basically an engine mounted on 2 wheels, then some sort of trailer attachment to the back so they can configure them to whatever their needs are. Very utilitarian. I rode through town after town. More traffic and more people. It seemed like this was the engine of the country. I had finally made it into Ho Chi Minh City. I rode into the heart of the city to find somewhere to stay. I found a place down a narrow laneway. seeing I've had a bunch of days riding 8 to 10 hours a day, I'm going to have tomorrow off. And then head back up to Hanoi because I am running out of time. So I found this little establishment down a laneway. We're going with green today. Shower, bed, the air conditioner is really good. And yeah, then I'll go explore. The next morning, I went out for a walk through the city. Vietnam is famous for its street food, and one of the most well known is banh mi. It's basically a sandwich, a short baguette with thin crisp crust and a soft texture. It is normally split lengthways and filled with meats and savoury ingredients. I went to one of the most famous banh mi stores to grab one. The baguette was introduced to Vietnam by the French in the mid-19th century and became a staple food by the early 20th century. In the 1950s, a distinct Vietnamese style of sandwich developed in Saigon, now known as Ho Chi Minh City, becoming the popular street food banh mi. It's just after 9 and that place is already pretty busy, and you can see how efficient they are. Apparently there's lines down the street by lunchtime, so got in early. We'll see what this thing's like. Bread is really good. It does come from the French though, so you'd expect that. It is extremely good. Definitely worth trying out. I wandered around the streets a bit more until it was time to find some dinner. Something local. Ho Chi Minh City is a lot different than hanging out in the old quarter of Hanoi. Seeing I can't read Vietnamese, this looked as good as any. There was a starter, and then I had pho, rice noodle soup with beef. I walked around a little more, past some markets, some small food spots, then into what looked like the main square. Ho Chi Minh is definitely a very modern city.
Oh my love, you're such a fragile thing, I know.
In the next episode, it's a wet start leaving Ho Chi Minh City. I check out some sand dunes, ride along the coastline, stop by a fishing village. I explore more stunning landscapes and ride across a very long, rickety bridge.
The trees haven't started to shed, just feel the summer sun as it warms our bed.